I had been with Nathan for 6 years, but I didn't wait for him to marry me. I was robbed and blocked in an alley. I dialed his number. She's just my assistant. In this foreign country it's dangerous if she suspects someone is following her. You've been pressuring me so much all these years. I'll marry you when I get back, okay? He hung up on me. I had my throat cut and died at the entrance of an alley in a foreign country. When I opened my eyes again, I went back to 6 years ago. This time, I no longer wanted to marry him. Vera, I love you. You said that if I won this race you'd be with me. I saw Nathan, who was 19 years old and sitting on his motorcycle, sincerely and passionately confessing his love to me. At the age of 19, he was flamboyant and a bit of a rogue, with a face that could charm anyone. When those peach blossom eyes looked at people affectionately, it was enough to make people drown in them. The scorching sun in summer made the tears in my eyes almost flow out. I stared at him blankly. I had been reborn and gone back to 6 years ago. I couldn't remember how long it had been since I saw him looking at me with such hot and affectionate eyes. In my memory, more often than not, his eyes were cold, telling me to stop making a fuss. In this motorcycle race, we had a bet. I said that if he could outrun me on this track, I would be with him. In this race, in order to win, he didn't hesitate to accelerate on the deadly turns. It was a narrow escape. He won the championship. I rushed forward and hugged him, and tears welled up in my eyes. He kissed me in front of everyone. After that, we were entangled for 6 long years. When he loved me, he could put me on a pedestal. Just because others said about me that I was born by a mother but without her teaching, he could pull out the teeth of that person one by one. Motorcycle racing was my hobby. Even though he fell several times, he would practice again and again just to be able to strike up a conversation with me. Just because I coughed once from secondhand smoke, he quit smoking. Whenever I was around, he wouldn't let anyone smoke. Everyone around him said that they had never seen him love someone so much, and the position of Mrs. Nathan was definitely meant for me. I used to think that I could really be with him for a lifetime until he left me dead on the street for another woman. When our relationship reached the 5th year, it began to change. He started coming home late at night. There was a faint smell of cigarettes on him again. He hugged me and said, "Vera, for a man socializing, cigarettes and alcohol are inevitable." And the perfume smell on him was also a necessity for playing along in social situations. When I said that my family asked about our marriage, there was always an indescribable look in his eyes when he looked at me. It was as if I was forcing him to get married. When I proposed to break up, he would ingratiatingly bring gifts to my door. He would show me his tired look after staying up all night and tell me how much he loved me and couldn't live without me. It was just that getting married was too early for him at that time. He wanted to wait until the company he managed reached a higher level. With 5 years of relationship and all the good things he had done for me lingering in my mind, I compromised. But what I waited for was that he fell for another woman, Wendy. Wendy was his assistant. He saved her in a bar. Her father sold her to a 50-year-old man for 100,000 yuan to pay off his gambling debts. She said that she would work as his assistant for 2 years to repay that 100,000 yuan. He went from looking down on her for knowing nothing at the beginning to working overtime and personally guiding her for her sake. Nathan took her on a business trip to Country Am without telling me. I only found out when I attended a banquet for the sponsors of the motorcycle race. I saw him taking her to socialize, and then a man at the event made advances towards Wendy. He raised his fist at that man and pinned him to the ground, punching him hard. He hugged her, comforted her and told her not to be afraid, that it was okay and that he was there. Wendy fell into his arms and asked him in a tearful voice if he would protect her for a lifetime. Nathan didn't answer. He saw me standing at the other end of the corridor. I clenched my teeth tightly. There seemed to be a bloody taste in my mouth from my throat. My heart was aching violently. It turned out that he could also get so angry and fierce for another woman. In fact, he must have had a different feeling for her at first sight. After all, Nathan had never been a kind-hearted person. He had the appearance of a bodhisattva but the means of an asura. He was the kind of person who could twirl Buddhist beads and break people's finger joints one by one without changing his expression. I turned around and left, got into my car outside and drove very fast. His car chased closely behind in order to force me to stop. He even drove in front of me. When I crashed into him, he almost overturned his whole car. I stopped the car with trembling hands. The moment I saw him getting out of his car unharmed, I collapsed in my car. He rushed over and hugged me tightly in his arms. He explained to me, after all, I brought her here. I'm obliged to ensure her safety. He took out a ring and put it on my fingertip. I originally planned to finalize this business deal and then go back to propose to you. I also wanted to set up a grand scene. Now I can only give up on the surprise. But later, because of a phone call from Wendy, he left me alone on the street. On the phone, Wendy said to him in panic, "President Nathan, it seems that someone is following me. I'm so scared. Is it that Mr. Zhao we offended the other day who sent someone?" Before she could finish speaking, the call on her side was hung up. Nathan said that he had something to do and asked me to go back to the hotel by myself. He got in his car and left me with a trail of exhaust fumes. In the next moment, I received a text message. Wendy sent a screenshot of the ring and informed a customer, the ring was lost, and I'm sorry that it was replaced with a necklace. She told me that the customer had asked for this ring half a year ago. It turned out that what he said about going back to propose was always a lie, just a temporary excuse to comfort me. No wonder the wedding had been postponed again and again. I asked her, "Didn't you say you were in danger?" She replied to me, "Nathan must have come to save me already. Do you really want to rely on being with him for 6 years and tie him down?" I was just testing him. When he hugged me I heard his intense heartbeat. It wasn't just that time. "He's fallen for me." He said that after 6 years he's already tired of you. "I'll send you more things slowly." I didn't have a chance to reply to this message. I was gagged and dragged into an alley. 2 foreigners told me to take out all the valuable things on me. After I gave them what I had, they looked at me with lewd expressions. They started to make advances towards me. In the chaos of my struggle, I touched my cell phone that had fallen on the ground and pressed the shortcut key. I didn't know who I had called. The moment the call was connected, I heard Nathan's impatient voice, "She's just my assistant. In this foreign country it's dangerous if she suspects someone is following her. You've been pressuring me so much that I can hardly breathe. I'll marry you when I get back, okay?" He hung up on my phone. I didn't have a chance to make another call. One of them covered my mouth and the other started to take off my clothes. I bit the palm of one of them and kicked the crotch of the other. They were enraged and cursed, "Bitch." My throat was cut by a knife and blood spurted out. I died at the entrance of an alley in a foreign country. I was reborn and went back to 6 years ago. This time I no longer wanted to marry him. Looking at his smiling eyes and eyebrows, I no longer felt any excitement of being attracted. I looked at him coldly. "This time, even if I die, I won't let you win the race." Nathan was stunned with a shocked expression when he heard my words. All the voices that had been jeering around became quiet. I put on my helmet, focused my eyes on the front, and there was only one thought in my mind: win the championship of this race. I couldn't repeat the same mistakes and be with him again. As soon as the gunshot rang out I rode my motorcycle and immediately flew off like an arrow. Nathan's motorcycle was closely following on my left side. Soon the motorcycles reached the turn. Due to the narrow terrain only one person could pass through. In my previous life, because I had feelings for him in my heart, I didn't have the heart to compete with him at this place. This time I accelerated without hesitation. I heard people around saying that I was crazy, accelerating on such a dangerous turn. It seemed that I was extremely heartless towards Nathan. Because of this move I took a big lead. Nathan's motorcycle crashed out of the track because he was forced to slow down. Soon I rode to the finish line. Nathan stood up from the ground. His motorcycle was already scrapped. He covered his injured shoulder and looked at me. I calmly gave him the middle finger, turned around, took the trophy and walked away without looking back. He limped and chased after me. His face became a bit panicked. He took my hand. "Do you really hate me so much? So much that you didn't even hesitate to accelerate on such a dangerous turn just to break off with me? It shouldn't be like this. We're supposed to be together." I sneered and shook off his hand mercilessly. "Who do you think you are? Just because you're chasing me, do I have to agree? You lost this race. Don't pester me anymore. You're so annoying. Nathan's face became embarrassed. He was the high and mighty young master of the Beijing circle. That it was the first time that he had lowered himself to pursue someone. In the past, although I hadn't agreed to his pursuit, I had never said such embarrassing words to him either. Moreover, it was in front of so many people. He became angry out of shame. Vera, don't regret it. I pushed him away with a light laugh and said, never. I walked around him, rode my motorcycle and left directly. Riding on the mountain road, I recalled everything in the past. Regret? What I regretted the most was probably being with you. You fell for another woman before we even got through the 7-year age. I first met Nathan at a banquet. I was absurd and outrageous just to embarrass my father. At his birthday banquet, I replaced the famous watch that my stepmother was going to give him with a green hat. I smiled and looked at him. Dad, how well this hat suits you. You betrayed Mom before, and now you're betrayed by another woman. You deserve it. My father's face became extremely embarrassed. He threw the teacup in his hand at my head without mercy. With blood on my face, I smiled and looked at him, telling him that there was another big gift waiting for him. My stepmother was also an old-time movie queen, but all of her resources were obtained by sleeping with others. I played all the videos at this birthday banquet. There were way too many men in them. My father's face was even greener than the green hat I gave him. My stepmother was about to slap me in the face with a ferocious look, and I slapped her back without hesitation. It was this woman who ruined my originally happy family. She lured my father into getting a divorce. She even dared to send their intimate videos to my mother, ridiculing her for being old and unable to hold on to a man. So what if they were childhood sweethearts? My father said my mother was so boring. He had been tired of her for years. Finally, she sent the ultrasound photo showing that she was pregnant. My father proposed to divorce my mother and was even willing to give her 35% of the company's shares. This forced my mother's postpartum depression to relapse, and she jumped off the building and died. Not long after that, my father married this woman. She would put on a hypocritical act to please me at first. Later her true nature was revealed. She tortured me time and time again, pinching the private parts of my body until they were bruised all over. She deliberately didn't leave me any food. Well, karma came. When she attended a dinner party, she got into a fight with other female stars over seats, fell down, lost her baby, and could never get pregnant again. And my father started having affairs with different women. Perhaps because his health had been weakened over the years, none of them got pregnant. Now that I'm 18, I've inherited 35% of the company's shares from my mother, and I don't need to save face for him anymore. He shouted at me angrily, telling me to get out. If it weren't for being able to inherit the shares smoothly, I wouldn't have wanted to stay in this family long ago. I simply turned around and left. My stepmother went crazy and grabbed a knife, and she even tried to take my life in public. It seemed that she was really driven mad. It was Nathan who kicked my stepmother to the ground and pulled me into his arms. My stepmother was pinned to the ground by the security guards at the banquet. She dared to commit violence right in front of so many people. It seemed that she was doomed to go to prison. I looked up and met his amber eyes, which were looking at me with great interest. It was as if he had seen a very interesting and rare prey. I thought it would be a boring birthday party. I didn't expect there would be such an interesting person. What's your name? He was extremely good-looking with an innate noble air, and he had saved me. Even though I was a rebellious girl, I still replied. Vera. Like the summer breeze, charming the heart. You're really like a libertine. If I were really a libertine, should ask you to marry me as a reward. Unfortunately, I'm not interested in men. My father is a good example. Nathan, remember this name. It will be the name of your future boyfriend. After that, he transferred to my school. Knowing that I was interested in car racing, he went to learn car racing. Once he had a crash. His friend Ray asked me to go and see him. He was lying on the bed with his hand bandaged, blaming that person for telling me that he originally wanted to show off in front of me after he had learned it well. That time I fell in love for the first time. In the past, when I played with cars, others would only say that it was a dangerous sport and told me not to touch it. He was the first one who wanted to play with me. He fought with another boy in our class who was chasing me but failed because of me. Because that man couldn't win my heart, he cursed me saying, "You have a mother but no one to teach you. What are you pretending to be so noble for?" Nathan showed up in front of me the next day with a bruise on his mouth. Ray told me that he had fought with that boy who cursed me and even knocked out his teeth. After that, that man never dared to talk nonsense again. Later, I never saw that man again. He transferred to another school. He confessed his love to me on the flag-raising platform even though he was punished to write a self-criticism. He would hold the self-criticism in front of me as if asking for credit, saying that it was the proof of his love for me. When a girl confessed her love to him, he would also tell her mercilessly that he already had someone he liked named Vera. He could go around half of the city on a snowy night just to find a stall selling baked sweet potatoes. He held them close to his chest, and when he brought them to me they were still warmed out. He would ask me again and again, "Are you moved today? Can I be your boyfriend?" It's known to almost everyone that Nathan from a university is chasing Vera. He loved me so blatantly. In the days that followed, he gave me countless preferences. It was hard not to be moved in the face of his persistent pursuit. Later, I made a bet with him that if he won the car racing competition and became the champion, we could start dating. I deliberately lost to him out of soft-heartedness, but that gave him the chance to hurt me. I met Wendy 5 years earlier than in my previous life. She became a student in our class. She was admitted exceptionally because of her outstanding grades. She wore simple clothes and entered the class. She introduced her name on the stage calmly and gracefully. At the moment when our eyes met, a hint of hatred and strong unwillingness flashed in her eyes. Logically speaking, we shouldn't have known each other unless she was also reborn. When she went to find Nathan, I couldn't help but take a few more glances. This made Nathan have the illusion that I was jealous, so he deliberately treated her kindly. He would occasionally bring her breakfast, which used to be a special treatment only for me. He would take the water she handed him on the sports field. He would smile and respond to her and even let her sit beside him, telling her that she could ask him if she had any questions. He was trying to tell me not to be spoiled by favor and that I wasn't special. In the past, I would be so jealous that I would lose control because of such things. When Wendy first entered the company, I went to bring him dinner, worried that he would forget to eat when he was busy and his stomach problem would flare up. I saw that he was guiding Wendy in person with an intimate attitude, and the two of them were very close. Wendy would look at him with a bewildered expression. Looking at her expression, he said with a doting smile that she was so stupid and explained it to her again. At that time my eyes were getting sore. He hadn't looked at me with that kind of gaze for a long time, and he had once said that he would only guide me. I asked him in an extremely cold tone, "What are you doing?" Then I gave Wendy a sharp look. "The company hired you to work, not to seduce your boss." Wendy's face turned red with embarrassment and her eyes were filled with tears. "Don't misunderstand President Nathan. I just had some questions and asked him for advice. If you don't believe me, you can check my computer. We're working on a PPT now." "Just a PPT? Did it need him, the boss, to teach her in person?" He looked at me with extremely cold eyes and then told me indifferently not to make a fuss. Everyone else had just got off work and this material was needed tomorrow. If you can't do this job well, there's no need for the company to keep her. Wendy burst into tears. She begged me not to let her lose her job or else she didn't know what her father would do. He said, "Vera, do you have to be so aggressive?" Then he dragged me away. That night we had our first quarrel because of Wendy. I said that women's sixth sense told me that she had ulterior motives. He said that I was being paranoid. Finally, he still compromised. He said that he would let his secretary guide her in the future and that he was really just teaching her work-related things. He even showed me the surveillance video. But now when I look back at it, I'm surprisingly calm. I calmly looked away, closed my book and walked outside. I heard the sound of the table being kicked over behind me. Nathan shouted angrily at Wendy, "Get out. Don't fucking bother me. Go find the teacher if you have questions. I'm not obliged to teach you. You were specially admitted, yet you can't even solve such simple problems. Stop pretending." Look, he could easily see through it now. It was just a little trick to get close to him. Then why did he become so stupid after having 6 years of experience? Wendy followed me into the bathroom. She looked at me and smiled. Hello, classmate Vera. I didn't want to pay attention to her and wanted to leave directly, but she stretched out her hand to block my way. Stop pretending not to know me. The first look you gave me wasn't the look you would give to a stranger. You've also come back. Vera, you couldn't compete with me in your last life, and it will be the same this time. You'll watch him abandon you again. She began to tell me how Nathan chose her over and over again and abandoned me in my previous life. On Valentine's Day, she called and said that her father had beaten her again. He immediately drove to her home in person, taught her father a lesson, and gave him some money, asking him to sign a contract saying that he would never bother her again. No wonder that day he answered a phone call and left in a hurry. When he came back, his fist was injured. He told me that something had gone wrong with a project and that he had lost his temper and got into a fight. On our 6th anniversary of dating, she called him and said that it was so dark outside and there was thunder. She was very scared. In the past, her father would beat her on rainy nights. She had a fever, and he rushed over to accompany her immediately. That time, he hurriedly gave me a necklace, kissed me, said sorry that he couldn't accompany me on our 6th anniversary, and told me that his mother was sick. I said I wanted to go and see her together, but he asked me not to go for the time being. His mother had always been prejudiced against me, thinking that I had done such an outrageous thing at my father's birthday party. I was wild and hard to tame, and I wasn't suitable to marry into the Nathan family. They needed a well-behaved daughter-in-law. Because I loved him, I endured his mother's sarcasm and ridicule time and time again. So I thought that he didn't let me go because he was afraid that his mother's condition would get worse. I was alone facing the carefully prepared cold dishes on the table, thinking about how to make his mother truly accept me, while he was holding another woman and comforting her softly at that time. It turned out that he had betrayed me so many times. He could give his former preference to another woman without reservation, and he could take good care of another woman while saying that he loved me. It was really disgusting. She was telling this with a smug smile on her face, trying to see sadness or anger on my face. Even though I had died once, when I knew so many deceptions, my heart was still instinctively stabbed with pain. I wiped my palms slowly, trying my best to restrain my expression. Not everyone will always regard trash as a treasure. If you like that kind of trash, just hold on to it. Unfortunately, it seems that he's not interested in you now. Suddenly, Wendy went crazy and fell to the ground. She slapped herself several times on the face until her face turned red, made her school uniform dirty, and messed up her hair. She looked at me with a ferocious smile. Vera, if you bully me on campus out of jealousy, what will people outside say? Anyway, you don't have a good reputation on weekdays. No one will believe you. You're doomed to be defeated by me. I just watched her behavior coldly. Even after being reborn, she still hasn't come to her senses and has become even more foolish. It's not worth using all kinds of means for a man like that. The matter of my bullying Wendy caused a huge stir in the school. On the school forum, people even called me a hypocrite, saying that I was being two-faced. I didn't accept Nathan's pursuit on one hand, but when other girls got close to Nathan, I would take action against them on the other hand. The school teachers also called me in for questioning. Since Wendy was recruited because of her excellent grades, the school was worried that something as bad as school bullying would be exposed to the media. However, due to my family background, all these remarks only dared to appear behind my back. The teachers just hinted at a few things. In the North City, there were hardly any families who dared to openly offend the Vera family, until one media outlet exposed my actions. Wendy's picture was mosaicked, showing her arms, lower back, and legs with bruised marks from being beaten. She was crying bitterly, begging people to help her, saying that the other party was powerful and she really had nowhere to turn for help. Then some people who had long been secretly unhappy with me came out to expose things together. They said some unfounded things, claiming that it wasn't the first time I had bullied others, and took out a picture of me hitting someone. They said that I usually played racing cars and didn't take human lives seriously, directly hitting people with cars, which left people disabled and forever unable to participate in racing again. Even the incident where I forced my stepmother to take a knife to me was dug out, saying that I was so rebellious that even my parents hated me so much that they took a knife to me because they couldn't discipline me. It got huge attention online. My information was dug out by netizens, and in the comments, people were telling their own tragic experiences of being bullied at school. It's because of people like her that I've had a psychological shadow for my whole life. I don't even like going out to meet people now and have serious inferiority complex. Can the rich do whatever they want? The relevant departments should deal with it quickly. Such a scoundrel should be banned from school forever and have it recorded in her file. I became the target of public criticism. Everyone was denouncing me and asking the school to expel me. In the school, the looks directed at me were full of precaution and disgust. After this incident happened, Nathan came to find me. He didn't care whether I really bullied Wendy or not. First, he was happy that I targeted Wendy because of him. He clenched his fists and asked me if I cared about him. It's fake. I didn't lay a hand on her. He was stunned for a moment and then looked at me like a savior. Vera, now the matter has become very serious. Even if you say it's fake, no one will believe you. I can help you suppress all the news, as long as you show a bit of weakness to me. Impossible. I just replied coldly with these 3 words. Nathan seemed to be stung by my attitude. The corners of his eyes turned a bit red, and a wronged look appeared on his face. I've been so good to you. Even a stone should be warmed up by now. Vera, you're heartless. Why can't you just give it a try? There's no need. Because I've already tried. And I lost miserably. Over the years, his love for me grew less and less, while my love for him grew deeper and deeper. He used to look at me as if I were a precious treasure, held me in his hands, and told me that he couldn't wait to reach the legal age of marriage so that he could marry me and make me his alone forever. But when it was really time to marry me, he became silent about it. Even my father, who had a cold relationship with me, would ask when we were getting married. But he would only say to wait a little longer. The unrestrained me became sensitive and chose to give in again and again, turning into the person I hated the most. I became so humble that it didn't seem like me anymore, escaping from the irreparable rift in this relationship. Looking at him trying his best to salvage the situation, I kept making excuses for him in my heart. He'll change. After all, he loved me so much before. I relied on recalling those sweet memories in the past and forgave him time and time again with a soft heart. Even though there had been many signs of his infidelity long ago, I chose to turn a blind eye to them. The final result was that I wasted 6 years of my life and even lost my life. There's no need to make the same mistakes again. He looked at me affectionately. I won't give up just like this. Just when Wendy was proud that she could completely get me expelled from school, I invited all the media people to the school and was willing to be interviewed in person. I invited the people involved in the incident to explain in person. Of course, except for my stepmother. After all, she's still in prison now. In that picture of hitting someone, the other party was the one who started it and asked me for money. I just fought back and kicked the person to the ground. The person involved came out to clarify. At that time, the young man's grandmother at home fell ill, and I lent him money. He also realized that he shouldn't have done the extortion thing. After coming out of the re-education through labor, he had turned over a new leaf. Now he's working as a security guard in the Vera family. I gave him a job and saved his grandmother. He's very grateful to me. The race car driver who was said to be disabled came out to clarify in person. At that time, there was something wrong with his car. He almost drove the car off the road. There was a cliff outside. I just stopped the car. If it weren't for me, he might not just be disabled but would have died. I didn't play the video of my stepmother again. After all, we were all students and it wasn't suitable for children. I just played the apology letter from my stepmother, telling how she had abused me before, that it was her fault, and that she deserved to be in prison. The reason she wrote this letter was that she hoped I would write a letter of understanding for her. Of course, I didn't write it. When the media people saw that I had clarified all these things, they quickly put the microphones in front of me and asked me, even if the other things were just made up by netizens, the matter of your school bullying this time is real, right? The person involved is also from your school. If it's false, you should also ask her to come out and clarify like you did with these people, right? At this moment, Wendy was standing not far away, looking at me, with resentment almost overflowing in her eyes. I pointed in her direction. She's standing not far away right now. You might as well ask her in person. How could Wendy let go of such an opportunity to perform? She immediately had tears in her eyes. I don't know what I did wrong. I just asked classmate Nathan a question. Because I'm poor, I deserve to be looked down upon. Vera, if you bully me at school out of jealousy, what will people outside say? Anyway, you don't have a good reputation on weekdays. No one will believe you. You're doomed to be defeated by me. I clicked on the voice recording on my phone and played the words she said to me alone in the bathroom. There was no surveillance in the bathroom, and the injuries on her body were self-inflicted later. She didn't expect that I had recorded it. She didn't think that when I was 18, I was able to get the video of my stepmother. When she followed me that day, I had already secretly turned on my phone and recorded our conversation. The reason I didn't clarify at first was that I just wanted to see how far she would go. The bigger the fuss she made, the more embarrassed she would be in the end. She stood there in tears and shock. While Wendy was still in shock, suddenly a man rushed into the crowd. He was wearing a shabby plaid shirt and his hands were full of cracks. He slapped her hard across the face. You unfilial daughter. Where have you been all these years? You left me to fend for myself. Her eyes showed infinite horror the moment she saw him and she tremblingly called out, Dad. So this was the father who had been abusing her all the time. I'll beat you to death. Your mother ran away with another man when you were 3. You look just as cheap as her, so you dare to run away too. Do you think that just because you got into a good university, you can abandon your father? While speaking, the man sat on the ground and wailed, telling how hard it had been for him, a man, to bring up his daughter over the years and that she didn't contact her father now. All the media people saw the situation and didn't try to stop it. It was like vultures seeing carrion. They swarmed forward and kept taking pictures. Wendy, who had just been performing under the spotlight, was now pounding on the cameras in horror, screaming at them to stop taking pictures. The man reached out to grab Wendy and was about to take her home, saying that her grandmother missed her so much that she was now lying sick in bed and that she must go back. Wendy broke free from his hand and grabbed mine. In front of everyone, she knelt down in front of me and held my hand. Help me. I won't compete with you anymore. I can't go back. I looked down at her and asked her calmly, on the day you personally came out to record the video saying that I bullied you, didn't you think of this moment? I'm not a saint. Why should I repay evil with good? She broke down. She stood up from the ground and tried to hit me, but Nathan kicked her to the ground. She couldn't help but let out wails. Why is it like this? I just wanted to be with you earlier. You told me that you were already tired of her. You said that if you had met me earlier, you would have chosen me too. Nathan just looked at her coldly with his affectionate eyes and spat out the word, crazy. I looked at her with sadness. I don't hate her. Because even without her, there would be Zhao Wendy or Zhou Wendy in the days to come. She just happened to appear at that time. She thought she was special in Nathan's heart, but she didn't know that she just hadn't got him yet. At this moment, I'm the first love in his heart. How could a pursuer who deliberately got close compare to a woman who couldn't get the love she wanted? God gave her a chance to start over, but she chose to come to this scoundrel earlier. She was dragged out of the campus by her father, and those photographers were still following closely behind. Nathan looked at me and told me that he was the one who found Wendy's father so that she would never be able to appear in front of me again and wouldn't be able to bother me anymore. I looked at him mockingly. You're really despicable. Was the media outlet that first exposed this following your instructions? After all, besides him, who in the North City would dare to oppose the Vera family? He just pursed his lips tightly and looked at me, remaining silent. After a long while, he said, I just wanted you to rely on me, compromise with me. What's wrong with being with me? I'll protect you, cherish you, and love you. You're really disgusting. Please get out of my life. He put me in the middle of a storm and then tried to be my guardian angel. Perhaps he had never loved me. He just wanted to see the thorny rose growing in the wilderness compromised to him, willing to remove all the thorns for him, and liked this sense of successful conquest. His face twitched, looking extremely embarrassed. The knuckles he was clenching tightly were bloodless, and his complexion turned pale as well. He shed tears, and his tone was trembling. "What on earth should I do for you to love me?" He was no longer the high and mighty Nathan. At this moment, he was so humble that he didn't seem like himself. He had never begged someone so pitifully. His love at this moment might be real love, but his being half-hearted after changing his heart really made me sick. I replied mockingly, "Then just go die. Maybe I'll be so regretful that I'll stage a scene of chasing after you like crazy, hold your ashes and cry while saying how much I loved you." After saying that, I pushed him away without looking back and left. I applied to be an exchange student because I really didn't want to be endlessly entangled with Nathan anymore. On the day my application was approved, I was kidnapped. I woke up in a desolate villa area and saw Nathan, who had become emaciated after not seeing him for a few days. He no longer looked like the unrestrained and debonair young master he used to be. Instead, he looked a bit hideous. I looked at him with icy eyes, with hatred in them that had never been there before. He raised his hand and touched my eyes. His voice was full of gloom and choked with sobs. "Vera, don't look at me like that. It'll break my heart." I also lost control of my emotions and asked him hysterically, "Why are you pestering me? Haven't I made it clear enough? I just don't want to see you anymore." He kept appearing beside me like a wronged ghost. It made me recall those past events that I used to hate, but only I remembered them. I hated him. I hated him for abandoning me after giving me his unique preference. However, after experiencing all these things, my hatred for him was fading away, and only disgust was left. I just didn't want to be entangled and wanted to start a new life. "Are you leaving North City?" "Yes." "Is it because of me?" "Yes." Pain and unwillingness emerged in his eyes. "Vera, recently I've been dreaming on and off that we were together. For 6 years, we were almost about to get married. But when I woke up, I realized it was just a dream. But if it was a dream, why did it feel so real? Really?" He looked at me joyfully with his eyes raised, but soon, panic filled his eyes. If he really saw the things in our previous life, there wouldn't be just sweetness. He would see that he had changed his heart. He would see that he had deceived me again and again for another woman. He would see me lying dead on the street. What was he doing at that time? He was in a hurry to comfort another woman who was scared. He lowered his eyes and murmured, "Everything is real," but I clearly didn't have any feelings for Wendy. I just wanted to use her to make you angry. How could I change my heart for her? Those past events surged up again. After seeing those things, he still dared to kidnap me. I gritted my teeth and said to him, "Because you're despicable. Scold me. Scold me as much as you want, as long as you don't leave me." Nathan reached out and hugged me tightly in his arms. I opened my mouth and bit his shoulder hard. How dare he, after knowing his own shameless deeds, still have the nerve not to let me go? A piece of his flesh was almost bitten off by me, but he still didn't want to let go. His hot tears kept falling on my neck. "I've only loved you. What happened with her was just a momentary confusion. I never thought of leaving you. I really wanted to propose to you. At that time, I don't know what was wrong with me. It was like I was possessed. Whenever she called, I couldn't help but abandon you and go to see her. I really felt guilty." I spat out a mouthful of bloody saliva, and every word was like a knife. "What's the point of telling me all this? Nathan, you're even worse than my father. You're more disgusting than him. At least he was openly a scumbag, while you only dared to do things sneakily, like a rat in the sewer. You did dirty things and still deceived yourself by saying you loved me. Your so-called deep love is cheaper than grass." He was the one who said that he would never let me become like my mother. He clearly knew that what I hated the most was betrayal. If he had broken up with me at the moment when he changed his heart, at least I wouldn't have wasted so much time. His eyes were red, his face was covered with tears, and he tightly grasped my shoulders. "I just made a mistake that men usually make, but not this time. In the previous life, when you died, I was in such agony after knowing it. I drank alcohol all day long, and my company went bankrupt. I got stomach cancer. In just 1 year, I followed you. As for Wendy, she was never the one I loved. We still have a chance to start over. This time, I definitely won't betray you. I love you. I really love you. Could you please stop torturing me like this? Please don't leave me. He paused for a moment, took out a diamond ring from his pocket, and knelt in front of me. Vera, this diamond was found by me when I opened the mine myself. The pattern was designed by me. It's a rose. From the first moment I saw you, you were like a blooming thorny rose, deeply attracting me. You're the unique blue diamond. In the previous life, when I wanted to get married, the ring he used to propose with was just something that he had planned to buy for a client and casually used to put me off. Nathan, there's no chance to start over. Hearing the sound of police sirens outside the house, seeing him being pinned to the ground by the police officers who rushed in, the priceless ring fell to the ground. I didn't look at it again. Since I had my throat cut in the previous life, I installed an alarm and positioning system on my mobile phone. I was afraid that there would be unexpected situations again. When he was hysterically entangled with me just now, I had already pressed the shortcut key to call the police. Sure enough, it's better to call the police when there's trouble. He wanted to resist but was immediately kicked and handcuffed. I was untied. Nathan, you'll never have a chance to pester me again. I looked at him and silently said to him, never see you again. The next time I heard news about Nathan was 2 months after I became an exchange student in Country F. I received a call from a former classmate. He said that Nathan had multiple organ failures and didn't have much time left to live. The reason was that Wendy stabbed him several times with a knife. After Wendy was taken back by her father, she didn't go to see her grandmother. Her father accepted 66,000 yuan of betrothal gifts from a villager and sold her to a 50-something-year-old bachelor in the village. The old bachelor usually beat people and always beat Wendy up terribly. He also had some special perversions. She was laughed at everywhere. People said, she's still a college student who got into a famous school. What's the use? She's still married to an old bachelor. She managed to run away and waited at the entrance of the police station, wanting to ask Nathan for help and save her. Nathan's family spent a lot of effort to get him released on bail. On the first day he got out of prison and saw Wendy, he was impatient. He said that this was the police station and that if there was a problem, she should go to the police. Wendy said it was a family matter and that the police couldn't handle it. Her family members were all on the side of the old bachelor. They said that she was being unreasonable. When she went back, she was waiting for an even more brutal beating. Who knew that Nathan wouldn't help her and even told her that it was he who had found her father and told her to get lost. Wendy lost control of her emotions for a moment, took out the knife she had with her, and stabbed Nathan. While stabbing him, she was also mumbling some crazy words. She said that in the previous life she loved him so much. He was clearly attracted to her. But after that cheap woman died, he still sent her back to her father. Her father hated her for becoming prosperous and didn't care about her and even dared to have her taught a lesson. On a winter night, he beat her half to death and threw her out of the house. She was frozen to death. She thought that meeting him earlier would make him love her more deeply and that she could get rid of her past life. However, he ruined her life again and made her life even more miserable. He deserved to die. Finally, Wendy was judged to be mentally disordered and had injured someone, so she wasn't sentenced and was locked up in a mental hospital for treatment. I said, that's really unfortunate, and calmly hung up the phone. I put on my helmet, rode my motorcycle through the mountain road, facing the gentle breeze in the summer. Vera, reborn from the ashes. Your long and beautiful life has just begun and will have infinite possibilities. Go for it.